so I came down here. I charted under Coach Mullen's staff, and I did really well here. Coach Mullen gave me a scholarship, and it was between here, Virginia Tech, Navy, and Air Force. And so I was, I love the Navy. I love Navy, but I don't think I'm a military guy. Neither Air Force and Virginia Tech, I think is a great, great school, but I can't let go of the offer of Florida. It's an SEC school. In my time, I was like, this is how I made my decision. I was like, where would I regret not going? And I was like, all right, I'm going to Florida.
Another duly noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. Okay, and welcome into another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Dooley Dome Gator Studios. It is interesting to be home, I guess would be the best way I could put it. 3 days in St. Augustine were unbelievable. They couldn't have been much better. Played golf at Valencia, pool, everything was great for 3 days. And then I woke up the fourth day to come home and had some kind of, I don't know if it was food poisoning or stomach flu, but it was bad. And it's always one of those things where you think, this could be it. I'm dying at this moment. And I guess people do die of the flu because they get dehydrated and everything. But anyway, it was, I slept for 12 hours. Can you imagine that? This old man like me sleeping that long, and I feel so much better. We have a good show for you today. Trey Smack is going to join us. Of course, the Florida place kicker, who will be a big part of this season, and I know he's confident about it. On Monday, I'm pretty sure Coach Spurrier will be back with us. Of course, we didn't do a Monday show, but we did have Jimmy Ray Stevens on from a previous interview. Hope you enjoyed that. And again, just coming back from St. Augustine, I did want to show you a little picture that Joe Cowart, Joe Cowart from 1010XL. That was the three of us. I had just hit the pin on a hole on my shot. I'm going to ask Smack about that because Smack hit 2 pins in 3 holes. That's my brother on the left, so, and well, I don't know, is it my left or your left? That's him. The guy with the beard is Joe Cowart. The guy with the goatee is me. The guy with no facial hair is my brother, Tim. Anyway, we had a great time at Palencia. Unbelievable golf course. I mean, it's just hard. It's in perfect shape, and really enjoy being out there. All right, let's get started with our Royal Blue starting 5, brought to you by our good friends Randy Royal at Royal Blue, and the good job that they did over there. As we were driving over that bridge, I kept thinking about Randy on our way to St. Aug. Anyway, let's get to our starting 5. We'll start off, and again, I could start off with anything, and I might be starting off with softball if I knew what happened today, because it's coming up in a little bit, and I'm going to talk about it later in the week, and we will talk about it today. However, let's get to the number one story to me of this week, which was, and I got to go all the way back to when I wasn't, when I didn't do shows, because once Thursday shut down, that was it for me. So I may bring up some things that happened Thursday and Friday. But anyway, getting to the point, the number one story to me is that Alex Condon is coming back to play for Florida this year. Certainly, he could have gone out. I don't think he'd have gone the first round. He might have snuck in at the end of the first. Could have gone in earlier, but who knows? But I mean, he listened to everybody, and he listened to all the things that he was told. And we'll talk about this a little bit later in the show. But this is where college basketball is going, and it's in a good place now. One effect of the NIL. Because everybody can always talk negative about the NIL, except, of course, the players, who have no trouble talking positive about the NIL. Coaches don't like it. Fans don't like it. Nobody likes it. But the players obviously love it. And the agents really love it because they're making a fortune of money that they probably didn't budget for 5 years ago, and now they're making a fortune working these deals for these guys. But the good thing is you get more and more players coming back for a senior year. And this is great. It's good news at Florida. I mean, Will Richard and Clayton don't come back. Florida has no chance to win the national title last year. Now they've got Kondo back. They've got, obviously, Chinyalu's already made the decision to come back as well. You've got Houck, who's going to play the 3, but, you know, he may play some 4-2. You got Hanlongton. You've got a 7'9" guy and Olivier Roy, who still don't know if he's going to play, but that's the point is. And then you've built this great backcourt with Boogie Fland, Xavier Lee, and then obviously you got Clavchar back for another year. You got CJ Ingram coming in. We talked to his dad the other day about him. It's going to be a good team again. The expectations are going to be through the roof, and it's going to be a hype year. I mean, it is. I am hearing people say how much they can't wait for basketball season. You know, football's still the king around here. Wait till you get through football season before you start worrying about basketball. But this is what Todd Golden was seeking to build, was not only the roster build-up that he's done and constructed 2 rosters. The first one won a national championship. This one is going to have the potential to win another one. It doesn't mean they will. You know how hard it can be. But to make Florida important, to make Florida relevant again. And that's exactly what he's done. Florida is relevant again. And it couldn't be in a higher spot, obviously, being number 1, being the national champs. I saw Gary Parrish had his after the decisions that were all made in terms of who's coming back, who's not, did a new top 25 and 1, and he had Florida 6. And I think that's good. It won't take you long to be number 1, though, because everybody's going to lose a game here and there. So who knows? I mean, you know, Florida obviously opens up with Arizona, I think. Anyway, they've got a couple of really tough games early in the season, and they win those games, they can be number 1. Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see how this thing goes. It's going to be legendary, the amount of hype around this team, like it was in 2007. And that team in 2007 didn't fare well with it off the court. They dealt with some issues. They dealt with guys' skins breaking out, and guys were sick because they were feeling too much pressure. You know, and it took Sidney Green to come up and straighten them out. But anyway, that was 2007, and they ended up being fine. I've talked about it before. I was in Baton Rouge for that game, and they were playing a team that had no players. You know, I mean, 2 of their best players were out. When nobody ever explained why, especially Big Baby. But the bottom line is they got beat. And it wasn't because of the crowd. They just had a hard time. Everybody was going to give them your best game, and they struggled with it. They struggled with a lot of stuff that was going on. But in the end, they pulled it together. They won the SEC without trailing a game, not even 2-0, and they won the NCAA championship over Greg Oden. So it all worked out for that team. We'll see how it does for this team. All right, let's get to number 2 on our Royal Blue starting 5. And, of course, every Monday, Steve and Christine Wendig, we usually present the circle. Now, I was trying to think of what day this is. Today's Thursday, so we wanted to give them a shout-out on Thursday. And, of course, by the time all of you are listening to this, Florida, you know what Florida's done in softball. There's no question that would be done by the time you listen to this. We'll obviously talk about it Monday, whatever happens over the weekend. But it's a big thing. And I do want to bring back up the fact that Florida won the super regional, because I was not on the air Monday. And obviously, Karen and I watched it on Sunday. I just got back from playing golf, soaking wet. We got a lot of rain. I know it doesn't feel like it ever rains in Gainesville. But anyway, watch the softball, really enjoyed it. Think about this. Florida had a fledgling softball program for a long time. It just couldn't get off the train. I don't know why. They just couldn't get the right person in there. And I mean, they hire Karen Johns, was a great hire. She still works with USA softball. I just didn't work out here for whatever reason. But anyway, and then Tim Walton walks in the door. Florida at that point had been to no NCAA tournament, NCAA College World Series, Women's College World Series. And now they're going for the 13th time. 13th time. I was looking at the other 8 teams. Obviously, UCLA's been like 33 or something because back in the days when you didn't know about softball, believe me, you wouldn't pay attention to softball, and every game was 1-0, and they had to put a runner on second base to get the one in extra innings. Back in those days, UCLA was in it all the time. They're still in it all the time. They've got a great program, and obviously Oklahoma's been in it a ton. But I think Florida's third of the teams that are in it to be in 13 times. I may be wrong on that, but there's a lot of teams. Like, for example, there's 2 teams that have never been in it. Texas Tech, which paid $1 million to get in by giving an NID, which I don't blame them. If you can get a player in softball that pitches like Kennedy does and hit like her and be a dominant player, I would do that. I love softball, so I'd love to do that. All right, so here's the thing. So you've got the 2 teams that have never been in the tournament before on one side of the bracket, which is where you'd kind of like to be, but would you like to be facing this young lady from Texas Tech who's unbeatable? Nah, probably not. On the other side, you've got nothing but SEC teams, all 4 SEC teams. Now, it's just the way the bracket worked out. You could make an argument for reseeding, but it may end up the same way. I don't know. The bottom line is you're going to have to beat good teams. You beat good teams to get there. Now you got to beat great teams to win it. No matter what, you're got to beat great teams. So if you're on the other side of the bracket, you'd be going, we got to worry about her, we got to worry about this. And on this side of the bracket, you're playing teams you've already played this year, and for the most part, and you're, because they played them all, I think, yeah. But anyway, Florida plays Texas today, and then we'll see where it goes from there. Like I said, 4 SEC teams on that side of the bracket. It's going to be an interesting tournament. I'm looking forward to it, I can tell you that. Let's get to number 3 on our Royal Blue starting 5, and that is that the mighty Gators are going to be going where there's a nice beach in Myrtle Beach in Conway, South Carolina, where Coastal Carolina is, because Florida did not host. Jeff and I were talking about it going into that Wednesday game, and that Sully was going to throw everybody out there and say, hey, look, I'm throwing my best. We need to win this game, and if we do, we expect to host. And that was the attitude he took. But they didn't. They didn't win the game, and pitching was fine, but they just didn't win the game. And as a result, they didn't get the host, I guess. I don't know if it was even came down to that one game or not. I think there is a point where the committee gets a little tired of putting SEC teams in there, and you get to how many do we have in here now? 9? Let's not do that anymore. And that's what happened in baseball or in softball, where they basically had all the hosts, and also now you've got 5 of the 8 teams in Oklahoma City are all SEC teams, and that obviously is what Greg Sankey's hoping for again here. But Florida not hosting, now it's playing East Carolina. That game, of course, will be Friday. We'll see how it goes. I mean, again, it's certainly a winnable region. There's no doubt about that. I would think Florida was one of the higher non-hosting teams just because of the wins that they were able to put together. But they got a good team, and we'll see. Look, Florida is going to do what its pitching does. It's no different than any other year. If you can't pitch, you can't win. They won last year, but the pitching was good. It got better as the season went along. And, of course, the other thing you had Kaggs and you had Neely, and that allowed you to win a lot of games. This is a different team now. Now you have Liam, and you have Clemente, and you have McNeely for the middle of it, and then you have two other starters, and of course, obviously, one of them has been very good this year in the freshman Aiden King from Jacksonville. I don't know why words aren't coming into my mouth, but anyway, and Coppola now is up to where he can throw 5 innings. So, and that's pretty much it. And you don't know how you're going to hit. I mean, Shelton, I would guess, would be back at some point. We'll see if he's able to step right in. It's a winnable, but it's very losable too. That's what happens when you're a 2 seed. There's a better seed, a team that's better than you. Coastal was I don't think it was a hard decision for Coastal to host. And Florida needs to go out there with a little pretend chip on their shoulder. Like, we're going to show you like we did last year and got all the way to Omaha. Well, go do it again. I don't know if this team can do that. I really don't. They're one bad pitching performance away from being in a hole. And, once you get in a hole, sometimes you can't dig your way out of it. We'll see, though. I am looking forward to that as well. Let's get to number 4 on our Royal Blue starting 5. I did want to talk about golf. The Florida golf team did not win yesterday, obviously, in the golf tournament, 2 days ago in the NCAAs. They lost in the Final Four. They lost to Virginia. They were right there, had a chance, and just didn't get it done at the end. Didn't get it done. But what a great week they had. What a great year they've had. And I think that's in fact, I was texting back and forth with JC today, and he's still hurting. It stings when you lose one like that. Kind of, there was a 3-putt there that was bad. But the bottom line is it was a great year. When you can sit back at some point and reflect on it, you'll feel a lot better about it. Because it was all the tournaments that were won, the SEC championship that was won. But they wanted to get another one, man. He wanted one. He wanted to get a second one in 3 years. And that would tell you that Florida was one of the dominant teams on the golf scene. The bottom line is that J.C. Deacon has this program where it belongs. He's got 4 of the 5 guys coming back next year. And he'll be bringing in really good golfers as well. Oh, he's got that other kid who was a runner-up in the U.S. Amateur, played in the Masters, is also coming for next year. Transfer from Iowa or Iowa State. I can't remember which one it was. And I also blanked on his name. But anyway, he knows what he's doing, and I think Florida needs to hold on to him. He's doing a great job. And having Dudley on that staff has certainly helped. It's been great. All right, let's finally wrap it up with our Royal Blue starting 5 with number 5, because I want to mention lacrosse, because lacrosse was getting ready to play as we went off last week, and I was rooting for them, and I watched the beginning of it, and I'm like into it. 4-2 after a quarter, the Gators lead. Man, I thought North Carolina was supposed to be all that, and then North Carolina was all that, and scored. Would they score 18 straight goals and won 20-4? Again, to Mandy O'Leary, to her players, I know it hurts when you get, seal clubbed in a Final Four, but you got there and you had a great year again. I know it's hard. I know it's difficult for both these teams, but I do want to remind everybody that Florida's had 3 Final Four teams in this academic year, and could still have 2 more theoretically, right? In baseball and softball. I don't know that baseball will make it, but I think softball could definitely get to the Final Four. So 3 Final Fours. So you had basketball. We know how that finished out pretty well. We had lacrosse, and we had golf. All made the Final Four. That's pretty good for one school. And I know that maybe they're not basketball, certainly a big sport, but they're not as big as as football is, but that's what is a football in my background. Anyway, it was a great year for lacrosse. It was a great year for golf. Please don't be down on them because they didn't win. They didn't win. That's all that happened. Somebody's going to win. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. can't remember the rest of that song. Anyway, and that's probably just as well for our listeners. All right, we will take a break. When we come back, Florida's kicker, place kicker, Trey Smack will join us. We got some good questions for him. We'll play yes, no, where, maybe with him as well, and do all of our other fun stuff in segment 3. This is another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Dooley Dome Gator Studios.
Hey, let's talk about something that's been a real game changer for many people, including me. BMI TeleMed is one of our sponsors. They're the weight loss specialists and can help you tackle that stubborn belly fat. You know, the kind that usually creeps up once you hit your 40s. Bob Parado and Charlie Gonzalez, 2 UF-trained pharmacists, work with their medical director to prescribe and deliver the same meds that helped me lose 50 pounds. Yep, 50 pounds. That belly fat, it's not just about looks. It's unhealthy and makes you feel sluggish. Now is the time to do something about it before football season rolls around again. If you're anywhere in Florida, BMI TeleMed, simple online telehealth platform makes it easy. Your weight loss meds get delivered right to your door fast. From my experience, you feel full sooner, eat less, but can keep enjoying the foods that you love, just in smaller portions. Plus, it helps with blood sugar and cravings. Do yourself a favor, head to bmitelemed.com to set up a free private consultation. No obligations, no contracts. These Gators know their stuff. You'll look better, feel better, and be healthier. Visit bmitelemed.com today.
Coach, you know what always impressed me? How you beat Florida State to win the 1996 National Championship.
And I was really impressed with your 06, 08, and 09 Gator teams.
And the way you coached Danny to the Heisman Trophy.
A lot like what you did with Tim Tebow.
You know, you won more SEC championships than you lost home games at the Swamp.
And you had plenty of super games in front of our Gator Nation.
Yeah, there really is something special about the Swamp.
I guess that's why we say about the Swamp, only the Gators get out alive.
To the Swamp and the Gators, with the best beverage served at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, 100% agave, Los Landeros tequila, aged in bourbon barrels for a smoother taste.
I think you mean Head Beer Coach 1966 lager, a crisp, light, bodied lager for easy drinking.
Nope. Los Landeros tequila, smooth enough to drink neat and bold enough to elevate a cocktail.
1966 lager, enjoyed on game days in the fall or whenever you need a winning cold brew.
Los Landeros tequila.
1966 lager.
Los Landeros.
1966 lager.
Y'all stop bickering.
Okay, you're both wrong anyway. The best thing Spurrier's Gridiron Grill offers are Jerry's famous chocolate chip cookies.
Here are just a few reasons why doing business with the Royal Blue puts you at the helm of your boating lifestyle. 1, the longer we have your listing, the lower percentage commissions you will pay. 2, survey reimbursement for qualified buyers. 3, detail reimbursement for qualified sellers. 4, on-the-water delivery orientation availability. Call us today to schedule a consultation to see what Royal Blue can do to solve all of your boating needs. Call Randy at 850-974-1294.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Fight Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Okay, and welcome back to another Duly Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios here at the Dooley House, which we do every Thursday. But not every Thursday we get a guy who is going to eventually, I'm going to tell you, this year, going to get a little brick out there outside of the stadium. And that is place kicker Trey Smack from the University of Florida, who is getting ready to have a big year again this year. Had big years the last couple of years, did really well, as we all know. Trey, how are you today? And thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, I really appreciate you having me on here. Yeah, I'm really excited. Yeah, thanks again.
Hey, I got to tell you something. I think what happened when we played golf a couple weeks ago rubbed off on me, because Trey literally hit 2 pins in 3 holes. I mean, smack dab in the middle of the pin.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. I mean, I got close to my first hole in one ever, and you didn't even see it. You didn't
I
even watch it. He was on the other tee box, and I was like, "How'd you not see that? That would have been perfect for
I know,
the
and
win."
but then I was going to tell you, I played at Palencia Sunday evening, and I hit a pin, and I don't know how it didn't go in. It's like it ended up like yours. They only ended up like 7 feet away, so it wasn't like it smacked the pin and went off. It just grazed it.
Yeah, and the second pin I hit it, and then it rolled back 35 feet.
That
So
one was
I ended
different.
up making a double in that hole, but I almost chipped in for birdie. So if you do the math there, I'm not good at putting.
So when you look around, are you seeing any stuff about Miami yet, or do we want to wait a while till we get to the Miami hype?
Right now, really, we're just trying to stay in the moment. We're trying to just, bang out these workouts, just, focus on what we got going on right now so we can later on go into the season and then be prepared for Miami. We're not looking too far ahead. We don't want to get too anxious and,
Right.
make it a big deal and stuff like that. So we're kind of just locked in right now.
I've said this a million times, and you can tell me whether I'm an idiot or not. And I'm kind of an idiot, but that you really don't get stronger during the season. It's got to be all done, ready for fall camp, and that's probably where the best. Then you maintain from that point on.
Yeah, we do end up getting, I feel like we do sometimes get stronger in the season because Coach Tyler Miles, he sets up a good plan to where it balances out practice and it balances out lifting, and we trying to stay stronger and trying to stay maintained in the season and stuff like that. But yeah, this is the time where we get really strong. Like numbers are going to be jumping, guys bench press, squat. It's just going to be going through the roof. So it's a good time for us just to build and also gain that connection through the weight room because it's hard. It's hard. So yeah, it's a good time though.
You ever watch that Swamp Kings video and think we got to get to that point where they're like screaming and yelling and sweating and puking and everything, passing
Well,
out?
I feel like we're there right now.
Yeah, hey, look, but again, that is where you get it. And then you're prepared to do the things you have to do as an athlete, and it's the same way for a kicker. It's not like you can go, all I have to do is kick. No, I've got to be in shape for a lot of things that are going to come my way.
Yeah, I mean, we do all the workouts that the big boys do, like Tariq Sapp. So I mean, I'm not moving as much weight as Sapp, obviously, but I'm probably doing half his weight. But we're still doing the same workouts, the same kind of ideas, the same conditioning. So, just sitting around and kicking field goals, I mean, that's fun and all, but the hard work is getting done right now.
I got to ask you how you got here, because obviously you were a 5-star, so it's not like surprising that Florida went after you. But I mean, how did you get here, and what was it like for you to come down here the first time?
Yeah, so I'll start out from the beginning. I started kicking my sophomore year of high school. I think that was 6 years ago. I didn't really like soccer anymore. I kind of wanted to go to college for lacrosse at the time. And I was big in lacrosse because I'm from Maryland, and Maryland's a huge lacrosse place.
Oh
But
yeah,
yeah, so I played lacrosse, and I ended up meeting Matt Stover because I played lacrosse with his son, or we got a connection through lacrosse somehow. And so I went up to McDonough High School, which is in Maryland, for a session with Matt, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll come out and meet him." And we did a session, and from there on out, it was almost COVID came up, and I couldn't meet him again because of all the restrictions in Maryland, and you had curfew at the time. You couldn't go anywhere. So I would do a lot of things virtually. And so during COVID, I was like, I need a hobby, and so I was like, all right, I'll just go kicking because I need to stay mentally sane. And so at the time, I was like just messing around, having fun with kicking. It was funny because the janitors at my high school would tell me what time to get off because I wasn't allowed to go to the fields, so I would just hop the fence. And so, yeah, that was funny. So I just, 9 months into kicking, and I was like, you know what? I'll go to a Coles camp. I'll see what I do. So I go there. I think I chart 13 for 15 on field goals, and then I hit a big ball of 84-yard kickoff with a 4.0 hang, which at the time I had no idea that was good. So a couple weeks later, I look at the rankings and I'm scrolling past the top 20 because I'm like, there's no way I'm a top 20 kicker right now. And then I go to like 70, 80, 90. I don't see my name there. And I'm like, man, I didn't even get ranked. You got to be kidding me. And then my dad texts me about 5 minutes later. He's like, dude, you got ranked 13th. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, I totally scrolled past it. I got ranked 13th for kicking and then 15th for punting. And that was my first ever camp going to it. So I was like super surprised. I was like extremely surprised. So they invited me to Tennessee in Gatlinburg, and all the best kickers and punters from Coles. There was 300 of them there, and I was a junior at the time. So juniors, seniors, and sophomores, they all go to that camp, and I end up going 27 for 30 there, and I averaged around 80 yards with a 4.1, I think, hang kickoff or 4.0. I don't know, something like that. And after that camp, yeah, so I ranked number 3 for field goals throughout juniors and seniors, and I ranked number 2 for kickoffs, I believe. I'm not sure. I think I forget that, but I ended up getting ranked number 1 in my class after my second camp for kicking, and then number 3 for punting. And from there on out, punting, I just went down in the charting.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but no, yeah, that was a foot in the door for me to get, invited to camps like Florida, and I went to Virginia Tech, I went to Auburn, Georgia Tech, Georgia, and so on. So I came down here, I charted under Coach Mullen's staff, and I did really well here. Coach Mullen gave me a scholarship, and it was between here, Virginia Tech, Navy, and Air Force. And so I was, I love the Navy. I love Navy, but I don't think I'm a military guy. Neither Air Force. And Virginia Tech, I think, is a great, great school, but I can't let go of the offer of Florida. It's an SEC school. At my time, I was like, this is how I made my decision. I was like, where would I regret not going? And I was like, all right, I'm going to Florida. So after like a week, they gave me the scholarship. I was like, that's where I'm going. And so after Dan Mullen got fired, Napier honored my scholarship, which I really appreciated. And there was no hesitation. I committed to the school. So I was already locked in. And so that's how I kind of got here. I got here a couple summers ago, and ever since then, that's kind of been just rolling it out.
Yeah. I got to ask you what it was like, though, first of all, to run out of the tunnel for the first time, and secondly, to run out there when they told you to go, when Billy Napier said, go kick it. Obviously,
Yeah.
Adam Halick was the kicker for a while there.
Yeah. So my first time running out of into the swamp, that was Utah, my freshman year. It was probably still the best game I've ever watched in person. So it was amazing. I go out there. I didn't know what to expect. So I look to my left and I see this tower of just Gator fans just cheering us on. Look to my right, there's the cheerleaders, just like, just all these people right in front of me. And I'm like looking around, I'm just taking it all in. I'm like, what am I doing here right now? This is crazy. So I've never experienced anything like that. It's a moment that I'll cherish for the rest of my life. And then obviously Amari Burney got the pick at the end, which was amazing. But moving on with my first ever field goal. I had a PAT the game before against McNeese because we had a pretty large lead on them. And my coach wanted to give me a chance and, put something on tape for me to make a PAT, which was awesome. I was more nervous for that than my field goal. But no, Adam's a great kicker. Me and him battled back and forth. I mean, he was a great competitor when he was here. And I respect him. He's like a brother to me. So he's a great kid. And so when I got called in, I was kind of surprised. I was one of the grad assistants came up to me and they're like, hey, by the way, you got next kick. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay. Shoot. All right. I got to lock in.
Yeah.
So I remember it was a 27-yarder on the right hash against Tennessee. And I was so nervous back there. I had to take a couple deep breaths, and so I was just like, all right, you know what? You've done this a million times. Just just hammer the ball in there. So, I mean, it was a close field goal, but still it felt like a 50-yarder, but at the same time, I it was a good hit. Like it was like that how I hit the pin? It was just like that. It
Yeah,
was a perfect
exactly.
just like that.
Yeah.
So,
35 for 42 during your career is on field goals. So what we have to do is they've got to be good and you've got to be good. And then we can get you to the Groza Award because I'm working on
yes.
that. And I know that your friend Judd Davis sent me this picture, and I want to show this picture of a certain kicker from the University of Miami who had a tattoo of him of the Lou Groza Award on his leg. Andre is Borregales. Is that the way you say his name? Yeah,
Yeah, Borgalis.
Borregales. Yeah. Did you have that picture there, Zach?
Oh, I
Oh,
see it right there. Yeah, I see it there.
okay, yeah. So he's got the picture, and Judd said that you said that if you win the Groza, you're going to tattoo it on your forehead. So I want to know if we can televise that and put it on NIL, make some NIL money on it. If you do tattoo it on your forehead.
Well, Judd, yeah, I think it was the other way around. I think Judd said he'd tattoo it on his forehead.
Okay.
I think we said we'd both get a tattoo of it somewhere on our body, but if forehead, I don't know about forehead.
Yeah, no, he did say that he's going to do
Uh,
that with you if you do win the Groza. He's going to go get that done.
yeah, I guess so. I guess I have to get a tattoo. I mean, I don't know if we shook on it, but if he won the Groza, so I'm gonna do anything he says.
Well, that's right. And by the way, is that behind you? It says specialist. And is that your 40 time, the 333 or?
No, I wish. That's our expected GPA. We were supposed
Oh,
to get a 3.55. I'm pretty sure we did well above that. I think we did a 3.36. So
well, you don't see that posted in a lot of training rooms and weight rooms and locker rooms and stuff like that. Again, I mean, one thing we were talking about on the radio yesterday was how we don't hear any negative news coming out of Gainesville. I mean, I know there's the one issue with Dijon and he's going to get that resolved. But other than that, in 3 years, I can't remember any real negative stories. It's been really comfortable, I guess
mhm.
is the best way to
Yeah,
put
we have a really good group of guys. Honestly, like I can go down there and talk to any guy in the locker room, and I can have a conversation with all those guys. I mean, I can't name one of them that I can't have a conversation that I don't know their name, that I don't know where they're from. I think that we're such a tightly bonded group. So I think everybody's got the same motive, and I don't think anybody's trying to put any jeopardization into like our team or our program. So I think it's a great group of guys.
Well, and that's the thing, Trey, and we talked, and again, it was off the record, but we talked about um, things that happen in the NIL. But I always worry that in the locker room that is going to be an issue. A guy's going to say, "Hey, look, I can't believe you're making that much money and you miss that block or stuff like that." I mean, I hope it doesn't happen. I hope guys understand it, but I hope in that locker room, especially, it doesn't happen.
Yeah. I mean, there's a bunch. It's like you got so many different guys with so many different background stories, and everybody just has the same goal. It doesn't even matter when it comes down to the money. It's all about just doing your job, and you'll get your fair share of money, but it's about playing football. And excuse my French, but shit happens with
Yeah,
everybody. Like,
yeah.
stuff happens. So like if you miss a block, I miss a kick, like stuff happens. You got to have your brother's back. You're not going to blame anybody. You're not going to point the finger. It's going to be on all of us. If you make a mistake, everybody makes a mistake. So that's kind of the way we go about it.
Yeah, I'm a little worried because you said do your job, and I think Jordan Strong gets a cut of that if we have to pay her. I think Belichick's girlfriend, she's apparently patented that phrase. Like nobody ever said it before. But all right, it is time for us to play the game. Yes, no, where. Maybe we ask three questions of Trey Smack. It is brought to you by Big Mills Cheesesteak, as is our Zoom call, Big Mills Cheesesteak. If you go there and say, hey, I listened to Trey Smack on an interview on the Dooley show, you get free French fries with your order. So you can go in there and get that if you want, Trey. You can say, I'm Trey Smack, and I want everything, one of everything. All right, yes, no, where, or maybe. Number one, you considered Navy and Air Force because you wanted to fly an airplane.
No.
No, it wasn't that?
No, it wasn't that. I considered Navy because my uncle, he was a captain in the Navy, so he served on the USS Mason, the USS Carney, and I thought about that. So that's kind of what I wanted to go in the I considered that for.
Well, I was going to say you're 6'1", so I don't know if you could fit in that seat, so it might be a little tight.
It might be, but I'm considered a small guy around here.
That's right. Exactly. Number two, you can still handle a lacrosse stick.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah, I can still handle a lacrosse stick. I can still throw around the stick a little bit. I can shoot. I can still shoot. I haven't done it in a couple of years, but it doesn't go away. It's just like muscle memory. It's like riding a bike.
Yeah. It's like your golf swing. Mine did go away, and I'm trying to get it back, but I still haven't yet. All right, and finally, number three on yes, nowhere, maybe with Trey Smack. You were the best golfer on the football team.
There's a lot of great golfers on the football team, so I'm gonna say maybe there. We'll say maybe. I am on the upper end, I would say. I'm not gonna say I'm the best, but I'm definitely in the top three.
I should have put one of the questions on there. You're worried about having a new holder this year. I mean, a new holder this year because Crawshaw is gone. Who's going to end up holding this year?
So it's going to be Tommy Doman, the guy from Michigan.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Tommy Doman, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not too worried about Tommy because he's been in such big games and big times. Like he was last year. Ohio State, Michigan, Dominic Savada, he hit that field goal to kind of put him in the lead. So he's been in a lot of big time situations, gotten the ball down. He also played in a national championship. So, right. I mean, he's good. He's a great holder. I mean, he's everything I could ask for a replacement for Crawshaw. Crawshaw was a great holder, but Tommy's going to fit right in.
Well, that's good. Hey, we really appreciate you coming on, man. You probably thought when you played golf with me, you weren't going to have to come on a podcast, but I strong-armed you into it, but I appreciate you. And, yeah, anything you need to promote in the future, you just let me know, and we'll get it up here. And camps or anything like that, just let us know. And we appreciate you. We'll be back with more of another Duly Noted podcast right after this break.
Meldon Law has been serving personal injury victims since 1971. In those days, Jeffrey Meldon's presence as an attorney in the music scene dubbed him with the nickname the Hippie Attorney. And although times have changed, two things haven't: our commitment to bettering our community by helping the injured.
Albert, are you ready to go to the game?
And our love for the Florida Gators.
If you bleed orange and blue, Meldon Law is the firm for you.
Growing up in Gainesville, definitely different, especially having the University of Florida there. It was basically like a dream of everybody's, growing up to just have an opportunity to play at the University of Florida. So everybody doesn't have that, the opportunity to do so. So I just feel like me being able to give back to the city that helped me, become the player and the person I am today. It's like, why not just go back and give back? You just become a great person, not just a great athlete or not just a great, teacher or anything, just a great person in general, having those attributes and those type of characteristics just help people just become better people. So that's what I'm trying to do, help the youth just become great.
Adams Rib Company has been a staple of Gainesville for more than a decade and a staple of the Dooley house ever since Kelsey's teeth came in. The first time I walked into Adams, I told my daughter that the green beans are always a test of a great barbecue restaurant, and they were perfect. About the ribs that melt in your mouth, and my favorite, the turkey plate. But be sure to go in on Fridays for Nana's Fish Nuggets. They will melt in your mouth. Adams Rib Co., a Gainesville great.
Titan MRI, North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. At Titan MRI, we're focused on you, the patient, having a great customer experience. Our MRI equipment is modern and 75% quieter than any unit in its class. And our MRI unit has one of the largest openings of any of the newer high-strength MRI units, which allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. At Titan MRI, we look forward to serving you.
All right, welcome back to another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios here at the Ponderosa. Appreciate Trey for being on. Appreciate all of our guests that come on the show. And we've been really lucky. I always have our guests and who we're doing, and I cross them off as we go through them. You know, I don't want to repeat it for one thing. And it's been a pretty incredible list, really, of guests we've been able to get. And I think we're over 450 shows. So number 500 could be coming up. Who would be the greatest guest we could possibly get for that? Well, you know who it is, and I can never get him. It'd be Tim Tebow. I'd love to interview him. Anyway, Tim Tebow, White House correspondent. All right, let's get to our Hesser and Kipke 3 things, brought to you by our great friends at Hesser and Kipke. 352-339-9920, the number to call if you want to get a hold of them. www.hklawfl.com. Hesser and Kipke, all your workers' compensation and family law needs. That is the place to go. Ken and Jen do a great job there. Let's start off with OKC winning, and now we know they're in the finals. And tonight we'll find out whether it's New York or Indiana. Well, we'll find out if it's Indiana. I think it will be, but it may take another game. But we'll see how that goes. But it is OKC's world right now. We're all just living in it because these guys are, I mean, they're 8-1 at home. They lost one game where they were up 9 with 3 minutes to go. They're 8-1 at home, and their average margin of victory is 24.6 points. That is the most in the history of the NBA. Now, it's got to stay there for it to be the most, but right now it's the most any team's ever won by at home. I mean, it's incredible to see what this team is doing. They're really good. I mean, they're really well-built team. Sam Presti knows what he's doing. You know, I don't know. I never really found out what exactly happened with him and Billy, why they couldn't work things out, and why Billy. It felt like a mutual thing, but it may not have been. I don't know. Those are stories I don't have to worry about, but I never really heard the actual story about what happened there. But anyway, OKC is in the final. And let's just say it's OKC and Indy, and you're going to get a lot of this. Who's watching that? Why would you want to watch? Okay, but that's who ended up winning. I'm sorry. The markets maybe aren't huge. I mean, I love being in Oklahoma City. I used to love to cover softball there. And I would always go over and like if the Thunder were playing, go watch them play, but they rarely were playing. But in that stadium, I was there for a Florida game. Florida lost to BYU in the NCAA tournament there. But anyway, I digress. But OKC and Indy are nice towns that I like a lot, and I wouldn't mind having to go there and do the travel. But you know, a lot of people are going to go, and of course, a lot of people are going to go, well, Halliburton, you know, oh, is that the biggest star we got? Oh, you have the MVP. What's his name? How do you say it again? Can you spell it? Yeah, that should be a test that everybody, you can't watch the game unless you can spell Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Tyrese Halliburton's names and identify where they went to school. Otherwise, you can't watch the finals, is what I'm saying. Which would eliminate the crowd even worse. No, I'm just kidding, but I mean, it is not going to. It's going to be there are going to be stars there, but they're stars that have become stars, and people are reluctant to accept them as stars. I'm not just talking about Stephen A. Stephen A. is going to take a contrary opinion about everything that somebody else says. So, I mean, he's trying to be the caricature that he's become. Not a fan, okay? Myself. Anyway, let's just leave that right right where it was. Okay, and number 2 on our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. Boy, I think I've got a lot of good guests on my show. I see what Paul Feinbaum's going to be able to do this week because he's at Destin. And, he just like one after another. He never lets any callers in because he's got guests. They're all wearing sunglasses, even though it looks like they're on a green screen because the beach is behind them and it doesn't look like the beach. Kind of like, I'm not at the stadium right now, okay? Just, I'm not trying to fool anybody. But anyway, and it's just like one, AD after another, one head coach after another. And it's pretty, I'm envious, I got to be honest with you. And pretty cool setup he's got there. And I'll get to what is going on in Destin a little bit later here in the show. All right, let's get to number 3 on our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. And that is, I wish I could get into the Florida Panthers. Okay. I'm not a hockey guy. But I do appreciate greatness. And I do, especially when it is within our state. I have a strong opinion on it usually. But Florida, of course, Miami doesn't feel like it's part of the state of Florida. It feels like it's just this island by itself. All of South Florida pretty much feels that way, at least when I'm down there. But I don't know I couldn't name one player or the coach, or I know that they're the Panthers, Florida Panthers. And I'm aware that they're really good and that they are going into their 3rd straight Stanley Cup finals. I know all this because I looked it up. Was not aware that they've got this dynasty working there. But really cool. Good for them. I don't know who they're going to play in the other one or who's coming out of it, but maybe I'll watch a 4th quarter or 3rd quarter, 4th quarter. That's funny that I said 4th quarter. That is the football, basketball, golf. No, that's the guy who doesn't watch hockey. Okay. In fact, when I was watching lacrosse, I go, is it 3 or 4 periods? I had to remind myself. Anyway, congrats to the Panthers going for their 2nd straight and playing in their 3rd straight final. That is good stuff. All right, that is our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. Let us get to our Adams Ribco Gator of the Week. And of course, it is brought to you by our good friend Adam Brewer over at Adams Ribco, a place to go for your barbecue. Especially get those ribs, man. They are the best in town. No doubt about that. Now, I had a lot of options here, okay? Depending on how far back I want to go. But here's what I did. I'm going to give it to our Adams Ribco Gators of the Week are going to be Lakeel Cabrera-Gay and Malcolm Clemens, who yesterday, despite a 5-hour rain delay, they're over in Jacksonville for the NCAA regionals. They both punched their ticket to Eugene for the NCAA finals. Gay was in the javelin and Clemens in the long jump. He's been a very good long jumper for a while. She's really incredible. She's from Cuba, I think, but she's incredible. Anyway, they're our Gators of the Week, and we appreciate anybody who's doing something great for the University of Florida. Yay! Gator of the Week. There you go. All right, let's get to our Leonardo's and Millhopper quick picks. And guess what? It is time to go ahead and pull a winner. We have tried to get a lot of people qualified, although a lot of you did not do well on one of our picks. And I think we had nobody qualify for one and one person qualify out of another. So we put all those, we cut them on a sheet of paper. We've assigned each one of them a number, and it'll be up to Zach to pick that number. Zach, the number is between 1,000 and 1,038.
Let's go 1024. 1,024.
Yeah, I've got to think of it now through too. Okay, there. Okay, all right. Michael Tudine is our winner. Michael's won before, I know that, but that's good. I like Michael. I know him well. His dad was, I worked with him for a long time, and he was a good dude. So Michael, I know you listen to the show all the time. I think I have your address, but if I don't, send it to me and I'll send you $25 gift certificate at Leonardo's. A lot of people have asked me, said, hey, you used to give out books and stuff too. And I get, yeah, I ran out. I'm going to work on that for football season so that we can get more books in here, both from Patrick Young, signed from him, and my copy of one of my books, the Game of My Life one, which they may be looking for an update pretty soon again. Anyway, you get where I'm coming from. We'll be able to do that again. All right, let us move along, and that's our Leonardo's at Millhopper quick pick. Let us move along to our Los Linderos Tequila Go Beyond Smooth Move of the Week. And look, Los Linderos is the smoothest, I almost said vodka, smoothest tequila you can ask for. It's what I drank over in St. Augustine, actually. I had one, just nice little sip. It tastes so good, though. It's hard to not continue with it. It's the only thing Urban Meyer drinks, too. All right. Our Los Linderos smooth move of the week is any team, and I didn't even bother to look this up, okay? But any team in America any NBA team in America, that would eliminate a lot of teams, that traded away their second round picks, which are usually not very valuable anyway, and got something of value from them. Say you did it a year ago. Say you did it 10 years ago. Say you did it this year. Second round of this draft is going to stink on ice. Now, you never know, somebody can come out of it. There's no doubt about it. But all these guys who are leaving, are not leaving, I should say. And we'll get to some of those in just a minute, is devaluing the second round, because now you're going, guys that are staying in the draft. And I'll tell you, the one that cracks me up is R.J. Lewis. R.J. Lewis was the player of the year in his conference, led St. John's to a season like they never expected, and then got benched for the last 5 minutes of the biggest game of the year in the NCAA tournament. Who were they playing? Was that Kentucky? No, it was, can't remember who they were playing. But anyway, Auburn maybe. Anyway, and then gets in the transfer portal, and I'm immediately going, God, I hope they get him. But nobody got him because he's going to stay in the draft. I don't know where he's getting his advice, but anyway, there's very few of those. There's more of the guys who are coming back because NIL money is better than second round money. Now, a lot of guys want to get started quickly, and that's what has happened with some players. But there's also a lot of guys who say, hey, look, I like it in college, man. I like the atmospheres. I like the coaches. I like the competition, and I like the NIL. All right. So anybody who traded those second round picks and got anything of value out of it, you did well. It's time for us to go to our Gallo Car Wash Sponge of the Week. And our Sponge of the Week is pretty easy today because, and if you go to Gallo Car Wash, you will see how great they do. But our Sponge of the Week are two young softball players, not that young, but Kendra Falby and Jocelyn Erickson were both named for the second straight year to the Rawlings Golden Glove team. And that is quite an honor. I mean, Falby, no doubt about that. She's best I've ever seen. I've seen a lot of great center fielders. And Erickson is just different, man. She does things that are just different, man. For a left-handed catcher, throwing down to first base, picking people off, she's just amazing. I think she is really one of the most valuable players on a team with a lot of valuable players, if you get my drift there. All right. So anyway, they are sponges of the week. Kendra Falby and Jocelyn Erickson for being named Rawlings Gold Glove winners. All right. Let us move along to our Hugh Cain Allstate Mayhem Moment.
The Gator Nation is in good hands with local Allstate agent Hugh Cain. Stop by Alachua Marketplace Plaza in Alachua and get a free quote today.
All right, so yeah, this is. I didn't know that they have celebrity. What do you call that when you're doing the siren? And celebrities that do the siren at Hurricanes games. I'm talking about the Carolina Hurricanes, of course, and John Shire was there, and he was a celebrity doing it. Brought his son along. They had a blast doing it. Unfortunately, his team lost. They did not win. But it's just like the version of Take Me Out to the Ball Game that they do at the Cubs games, some of them were hilarious. Who was it? I was trying to think whether it was Jim Belushi that said something about Angel Hernandez during it. At the end of it, he goes, "I'll check that guy's eyes," or something like that, and they kicked him out of the place, out of the whole stadium. I don't want to say it was Jim Belushi, but if it was, I give him credit. All right, so that is our Hugh Cain Allstate Mayhem Moment. We appreciate Hugh Cain and Hugh Cain Allstate. I want to talk about the Gainesville Quarterback Club, which we do on this show every week, twice a week. And what we'll talk about today is the just bad breaks that they keep getting. This one was that Laura Rutledge, at the last minute, was told by ESPN she has to do something Tuesday versus come and speak to the quarterback club. That's a shame. They're going to reschedule her. They're going to get her on a different day. So I've kind of put the guys I'm trying to get on pause for a minute. Anyway, they're still having a great meeting Tuesday, and Chris Doring's going to speak, who's I love having Chris tell stories, and it's great talking to him, and maybe I'll ask him some questions. I sometimes like to do that. That little black thing over my head, it looks like a Darth Vader helmet. I'm trying to make it look like a Darth Vader helmet. So, but yeah, that's just green, putting the screen up. All right. So anyway, Doring will be there, and of course Billy Donovan's still scheduled to be there. I know that like the whole thing with Billy got moved because of basketball. This got moved because ESPN is still in charge of everybody, and now you hope that Billy Donovan will be there. And I know that Laura will do everything she can to reschedule that. She really loves coming to the club, and she loves being a part of the Gator Nation. I know that. So Gainesville Quarterback Club. We'll give you more as we get these firmed up, because I know Kevin Carter's coming. I know Charles Davis is coming. I think that's going to be great. I know Noah Brindise is coming. Scott Strickland, Andy Staples. So I know some of the guys we have. Alex Brown. It's going to be fun. We need to get, we need to get is Channing Crowder. Channing Crowder would be awesome. He's got his own podcast with Fred Taylor and another guy. I can't remember who it is. Anyway, yeah, we ought to work on them. Who is it? Oh, Ryan Clark. Yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty good podcast too. And Ryan's really good at it. All right, let us move along to this, that, and the other. It is brought to you by Ironwood Golf Course, by Shackhow Insurance, and of course, as always, by Ballyhoo Grill. I may be having lunch in there a little bit. So appreciate Ballyhoo Grill. Appreciate all of our sponsors of this, that, and the other. This is that I was real excited about spring football meetings coming up. I was real excited about it. Man, it's going to be great. I can't wait for it. All these news is going to come out of it. Okay. That is that it got a little heated in there. The guys are in there talking. Everybody's trying to get their 2 cents in, because this is the one time that you're going to have everybody's ear. And in fact, Kirby Smart was demanding that we get a 1 portal window opening instead of 2 opening, and he didn't like it. And apparently Lane Kiffin stood up and said, you can't yell, you can't be angry from the deck of the yacht. Now what that means, as I'm sure you get it, is if you've got everything, you can't be mad about it. And I agree 100%. It's just like media complaining about free food, and that does happen, believe me. I always say, whatever they put in front of me, I can go outside and get something if I really need it. If my palate is that delectable, but I don't think it ever was. I never complain about free food. Okay. So anyway, all that's going on. Let's get to the other. And the other is that really nothing is happening. Here's what is happening. Everybody is doing what they like to do in politics, but also in the NFL. And that is put something out there, put the trial balloon out there and see if it pops. Right now, that's what Greg Sankey's doing. He's telling people we'd like to do. We're looking at this with a lot of curiosity. Okay, they're talking about the 511 number. They're talking about the, and the 511 would be you get 5 conference champs, highest ranked are in. It doesn't matter what conference they're in. We get the 5 highest ranked champions in, and then 11 at larges. There's another movement, and then again, this would mean going to 16. There's another movement to just do straight seeding and just put the 16 best teams in. There's all this discussion about the SEC and the Big Ten have all the cards. Look, they have all the cards. Whatever they want to do, they can do. And they're going to do whatever they want to do. And you better get out of their way or you're going to end up getting relegated. You're going to be down in that other league playing the Sun Belt or whatever, So this is what's going on. They're flexing and they're letting people know, here's what we're thinking about. And whatever we decide is what we're going to do. I know the Big 12 coaches have come out and are talking about expanding the NCAA basketball tournament, which I don't care if they do or don't do. To be honest with you, I don't think it's going to make it any better. I don't see a way it makes it better. Maybe it gets more teams where they can make money. I don't know. I don't really I would like to retract the tournament, to be honest with you. But I would like to eliminate, I hate to say this out loud because people get mad. I would like to eliminate automatic qualifiers. But, that's another thing that Kirby said. I'm getting off on my tangent here. Another thing Kirby said was, why can't we do in football what we do in every other sport? Well, it's because they have committees that know that the SEC's got all the best teams. And so guess what? 14 basketball teams got in. 13 softball teams got in. 13 baseball teams got in. Why can't the SEC be that? They're that and everything. All the golf teams get in. They're that and everything. Why aren't they that in football? We should be able to manipulate the system to be if we're the best teams, we should be able to get them in. I don't disagree with that. I think it's hard to do in football for some reason, but it doesn't. But anyway, the other is that it is talking season, and that's what you're going to get. All the things that you're going to be excited about and you think about, and then, or you're going to be mad about, and you think that you're ruining the sport. Somebody called the show the other day and said that she's going to start watching pro sports more. She wants to watch the NFL because of what's going on in college. I go, well, they're just making it pro sports. It's the same thing. If you like pro sports, there's more. There's some of it right in Gainesville. Anyway, that is this, that, and the other. I have taken a convoluted way to get there. Let's move along to our BMI TeleMed Smart Move of the week. And this is going to go to 3 guys who waited till the last minute, including LeBaron Philon, who did a great, again, BMI TeleMed, achieve and maintain. I always got to remember to say that, achieve and maintain, because that's exactly what I'm doing right now. I've achieved, and now I'm maintaining, and I'm ready to go for a second burst. But, LeBaron Philon is a really good player, was going to go to the draft. They thought he was a first-round pick, but they came up with the money to keep him, okay? This is what's going on, and especially with this settlement coming in. Tahan Pettiford, great player. I think he was freshman of the year this year. Great player coming back at Auburn. Otega Owe is coming back at Kentucky, who I wish he wouldn't because I like him. I think he's a glue guy. So the league didn't get any easier, is what I'm trying to say, guys. But those were smart moves by those guys to take guaranteed money versus not guaranteed money. That's basically what you're doing. I'm not saying Philon did. I think those other 2 guys were second-round picks. So you go in the second round, you're not getting anything guaranteed. You're not going to get a lot of money, but you come back to college for $2 to $3 million. And it's great. College is great, especially in the SEC. It's I don't know why anybody ever wants to leave, to be honest with you. But I also get that some guys want to go. Their goal is to play in the NBA, and they want to go as soon as possible. And the sooner they get there, the sooner it starts. And I get that. I never question a guy's decision in terms of it's his life. I can make comments about it, whether that was a smart decision or not. Like right now, I'm saying smart decision. Our BMI TeleMed smart decision of the week goes to those 3 players coming back. And of course to Alex Condon. Now I think we all assume that he was going to come back, and we're happy he is, and really happy that he is. All right. Let us get to our swamp games of the weekend. And boy, you got a lot to watch this weekend. Some of it I just can't give you because we got to wait and see what happens. We do know this. Baseball is playing at noon tomorrow, Friday. It's an ESPN2 at noon. They're playing East Carolina. That much we know. What happens after that? I think they're in the bracket that'll play the noon 6 games versus 3-7. Depends on whether they win or lose, though. So I don't really know what time they're going to play tomorrow or Saturday. Same with softball. Now, if they lose, they will play Friday at 7 on ESPN2. If they win today, they will play on ABC Saturday at 7. Now, it used to be the other way around, where if you lost, you got a day off. They wanted to let everybody have time to have fun out there. But now you lose, you're 2 in barbecue, and you're done. You go home. So that's the schedule if on both those occasions. NBA tonight, Indiana, obviously at New York. And New York is favored in this game, even though Indiana's killing people. That is on TNT at 8. Now, if there's a Saturday, if necessary game, that'll be Saturday at 8 as well. I mean, that'll be Saturday at 8 versus tonight at 8. Sorry. Saturday at 8. And then no matter what happens, the finals won't start till Thursday. So be prepared for that. That tonight you could see the last basketball game for for a full week. And there's got to be a better way to do that. But nobody ever listens to me. All right, baseball. We have Saturday baseball. Milwaukee at Philly. Ken Hesser, come on. FS1. Phillies are good, man. And the Braves are not. They've gone back to being bad again. FS1 at 4:15. The Yankees are at the Dodgers. That's at 7:15 on Fox on Saturday. And then Sunday night, same teams, New York Yankees and the Dodgers. They love that. ESPN, that's at 7 o'clock on Sunday. So that is your TV schedule. Just some of the highlights. I'm going to watch a lot of the Memorial as well. Although I did see where people were getting mad because Rory didn't call Jack and tell him he wasn't coming. And you got to have more respect for the man than that. Anyway, I'm going to watch all this stuff, and I can't wait to talk about it again on Monday when Coach Spurrier joins us. That'll do it for the show. Appreciate Zach so much. Appreciate everybody for being a part of it. We'll be back Monday with a brand new show. Until then, for another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios, I am Pat Dooley. I am deep. I am way back, and I am out of here.